Hi folks, Francis here. This is the first of what will be a little bit of a series of videos about some FAQs that people tend to have about Phoenix Song Project. And we're starting with a big one of what is Voicework. Funny old term, because it does what it says on the tin, but it's also quite vague. So, in the stating the obvious potentially way, it's doing stuff with our voices, work with our voices. But what does that actually tell us? The thing is that voice work can cover quite a wide variety of things. So what we're doing with Phoenix Song is what some people would call therapeutic voice work. But there's also things called voice work that, draw on similar stuff, but are used in more corporate environments. So, people might use them to train up people to do better presentations at work. But yeah, from this therapeutic standpoint, I might say it's something more like this. So, exploring and developing voice and our relationship and our experience of it. Or I might have said our relationship with it. Now, I've put psychological on there, but I've also put it in brackets. And, that's to emphasize the kind of psychotherapy aspect, but it's in brackets because of the way a lot of the time when we hear the word psychological, we tend to assume it's all up here. And we are kind of, within therapy and neuroscience, we're growing this understanding, actually, stuff that we think of brain stuff isn't all up here. But kind of, regardless of that, kind of, when we're just kind of going about our day-to-day lives and we hear psychological, we might think it's all up here. But voice work is also a very bodily thing. So it's important to kind of, to describe that psychotherapeutic element, but also to do so in such a way that doesn't say that it's just about your brain. It's just about your brain and what comes out here, because it's not. So it's still kind of vague. So maybe I'll give you a bit more background about Phoenix Song. And yeah, kind of some introduction to some of the things that influence how we do it. So I set up Phoenix Song drawing on my background as a music therapist. And kind of a few things came together that led to establishing the project. And it was that these things had come together that had led me to identifying a voice as a potential nexus for therapy work within our community. It's probably a story to go down in another video, so I don't ramble on for a really long time. But so the reason I mentioned the music therapy background is because that's going to influence the way I talk about what we do. So when we're doing voice work, it's not always about singing. Some people come and want to work on singing. Some people have more of a focus on spoken voice. All of those things are valid. But I do feel like it's worth owning that the language I often use when talking about our voices is more coming from that kind of musical singing background. Yeah. I guess another aspect is that something that I probably talk about a lot, something that people have said that I talk about a lot anyway, is play. And that includes when I'm talking about Phoenix Song. And when I say play, it's not kind of limited to being a child in a sandpit That's part of it, but it's also how do we can we see all of that? This was a poor choice of colour. It's play in the middle and it says creative, explore, try out. It's about having space to explore and to try things out, like you might do in a sandpit, or when you're trying to see how high you can swing. And as adults, sometimes that's things we do, by playing sport or by making music. But at the same time, we don't actually, as adults, have so many opportunities to play. And kind of crucially for trans and non-binary folks, we've maybe both not had the opportunities to play in a way that kind of rings true for us growing up. And also, we may still not get that. We may not feel safe enough to experiment and try things out in cisnormative places. And the crucial thing about play is that it kind of helps us discover how is it we want to be in the world, how is it we are. We can try things out, be like, nah, actually, don't want that, gonna do this. I might do a longer video of that at some point, because I could ramble on again. But yeah, so there's stuff around exploring voice, kind of voice and our sense of self, and I'm finding I'm increasingly working with the interface of voice and body. So like I said, it's not just something that's all up here, but it kind of cuts across the weird and inaccurate divide that we make between body and mind. I kind of attempted to illustrate this. I'm not entirely sure if it's successful, but it's kind of like, voice is in this kind of middle nexus point. So, body, mind, self, they all link anyway, but there's also potentially all links kind of through voice as kind of like a mediator. And that means it's potentially a really rich site to explore all of the above. So, I've talked for a while. Maybe that's made some things clearer, maybe not. I've mentioned that I might do a video about kind of what do I mean when I talk about being playful at some point. But I do have I've got a little clip at the end of someone who I've done some work with, but who's now moved into being involved with kind of the structure of the project and making sure that we have kind of accountability and that we are led kind of from across the community. So you'll hear a bit more about kind of playful stuff then. But I think it might also be useful for me to do another one of these videos, a bit more about things that we might do in sessions, kind of examples. And I might also do something about kind of influences, so the things that led to that decision, but also some of the other things that have kind of informed as I've kind of shaped the practice. Got some other ideas of videos to do as well, but please do, if you think Francis or other people, people from Phoenix Song, I want you to do a video about this, drop us a message. And yeah, hopefully that's some interest. Go ahead, share, follow, all of the things. Yeah. And now listen to someone else, someone who, apart from me.
Hey, so I was fortunate enough to work with Francis from Phoenix Song Project through lockdown via Zoom. And I guess for me, I didn't have any expectations, but I was keen to work on my voice. I was at a place where it was changing, it was getting deeper, and I wasn't totally confident with my own voice. And what Francis beautifully did was allow me the time to play with my voice, and some of the exercises we did really encouraged that playfulness and sort of took the pressure off any previous thoughts I'd kind of had and held with my voice. At one point I was wearing a cape and I got to use my whole body. And it's an exercise that I still now really appreciate and learned a lot from. So yes, Francis is, with the voice work, regardless if you're a singer or just want to relax into your voice a little bit more, I would say Francis from Phoenix Song Project is a great experience. I can't recommend it more.